Sometimes I think about the good days we had, but there were bad days too.
I'm Nicole.
And I'm Paul.
And with our motley crew of numerous children from our blended family, we sail around the Mediterranean on Savvy of London, our XP55 sailing yacht. Please tick that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and thank you for joining us on this journey. It's late April and we're not sailing yet.
No, not likely to be doing so for quite some time. It's still COVID-19 lockdown, week 5 or 6, I've lost track now.
Lost count.
So yeah, no sailing.
And we left off the last episode where we just met and decided that being together was a good idea. And we thought being together with our children on a 59-foot boat was an even better idea.
For the record, it's 58'6", and I know somebody will correct us.
Sorry, 58.6. Yes, so we will now pick up this episode with us planning to take 4 to 5 of our younger children on board Savvy of London. And then follow that journey through the first stages.
Yes.
Will we survive?
Who will survive? And who will come back?
A raging alcoholic.
Praise the Lord for Spanish wine.
It's cheap.
Cheap Spanish
And
wine.
bountiful.
One of the great things about a boat is that it's perfect for weekend getaways, especially in the off-season and when it's wintered. Cartagena is a great place to do this. We took lots of advantage of this as a new couple getting to know each other.
Cover them up so you don't see beyond the map.
Cartagena has surprisingly good shopping too. And that's where Paul's strong arms come in handy. It's a lovely city to explore, worth checking out for a weekend away.
Our adventures continued on land too. We visited Nepal later that year for the opening of a school that I'd helped to get the funding for and had started building a couple of years earlier, following on from the earthquakes in 2015. We'd also got the chance to climb a couple of mountains and to take a flight around Everest. This really is a magical country that we could visit time and time again.
I went skiing with my children before Christmas, and then Paul surprised me with a few days at the Ice Hotel in Sweden for my Christmas present. One thing you'll discover about Paul is he doesn't feel the cold. Sleeping on a bed of ice in sub-zero temperatures was the perfect climate for him.
We had plans to take our very first skiing trip together as a couple, but shortly before we were due to leave, I managed to convince Nicole that we should miss the skiing trip and head over to Australia to see her family.
I'm so pleased you convinced me. It was beautiful to see my family and friends who are so far away, especially my grandfather, who is very special to me.
I got to meet him for the very first time. I've got to say I was a little worried when I was introduced to his quite impressive rifle collection. We also got up to Darwin to catch up with Andrew and Lee. I met them in Denmark when Savvy was first launched. They were on board their ex-yacht Catherine, and many times since in various parts of the Mediterranean. They took us on a bit of a tour around the local Australian countryside in Darwin, and we even got to do some swimming at this beautiful swimming hole with some of the locals.
So we've come out the back of Darwin to the Litchfield National Park. So these beautiful falls, and we're going to have a swim and then a picnic here at these beautiful, beautiful falls. And it's really, really warm. With the Northern Hemisphere winter over, it was time to get back to our sailing adventures. And this time, with the children. And me, it's really early in the morning here, and we've been up since 3 a.m. We're at the airport going to, where are we going?
Spain!
Why are we going there?
There's some mix of both.
Why are we going there? We're going to get on a boat. We're going on a boat.
We came back with the 2 younger girls, Isla and Romy, at the end of March, and to get the boat sorted out for the big sailing adventure that was to begin at Easter.
Romy, why are you so excited?
I've never seen these before.
You've never seen what?
Palm trees!
You've seen a palm tree before.
It was my first time sailing. I'd been on a motorboat when I was young in Croatia, and I was really excited about being on a sailboat that I could sleep on as well.
Paul, on the other hand, seemed to have some problems reacquainting himself with the water, dropping things in, forgetting to tie off, and even got us in trouble with the Coast Guards. What you just done?
Isla, I told you to hold on to
didn't
that.
tie on the paddleboard. He's going for a swim. So that's Paul getting in trouble by the Coast Guard for letting the paddleboard off and not picking it up. Here's Romy's first time on a dinghy. She went to pick up the speedboat. So girls, how cold is it in there?
I don't know. Cold. I put my foot in. It's really
It's
cold.
19.6 degrees, I've just checked. So, Romy, are you getting in?
I don't know. I might not even come back. I can't do it on my belly. I'm too cold.
Okay, let Romy
Okay,
jump
I'm
in
gonna
and feel it.
Is it not actually that cold? It's not that cold. Is it cold? Yes, you're gonna be freezing. I know, but I don't care.
One half of the ladder each.
I can't touch it. I can't touch the ladder. Where even is it?
It's
Where
there.
is it? Oh,
Let your foot go down all the way.
let my foot go down. Okay. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. Okay, I'm gonna go straight in.
Yeah. Come on, Paul, you can do it. Yeah, it's only 19.7 degrees. Come on, Romy.
Come on. Get you, right? You saw there's nothing there. Pop their way, so I won't get in if I were you. Wait, did you splash? Yes, I did. I let go.
You let go. What, Romy? You get.
It's not good.
Turn.
Easy.
Right, hold your feet. Romy, you have won a prize for great. Romy, one of the most important rules is you never stand on the white bit. You only stand on the wood because the white bit's very slippery. Sit down.
There's a bump. There is a nick. Turn. I'm so.
Hold on.
And just like that, our first sailing trip with the children was over and it was a success. Romy loved the sailing. Isla is a seasoned pro, having sailed since she was 10 years old, but she loved having Romy around too. It was definitely a success. Now the time had come to bring out the big brothers, Ralf and Timo, in a couple of weeks' time.
Back in London, Paul and Romy hit the recording studio to record a few tracks, while I did a bit of filming on the rooftops of East London.
Watching you go.
How are you finding it?
I'm finding it quite nerve-wracking.
Are you?
Actually, yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I thought this is going to be quite straightforward, just like playing at home in the hall.
And how's he sounding?
Fantastic.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll be the judge now.
Yeah, I think so.
Tell me something, girl. Are you happy in this modern world?
I had reservations about having 4 children on a 59-foot boat for such an extended period of time. Sorry, it's not 59.
58'6".
58'6".
For the record, it's 58'6".
And also provisioning for that many people. It's really hard doing the grocery shopping and storing it and then cooking for that many people, especially on passage. So I was worried.
Me too. It was an experiment. Our relationship had gone so well, and sailing had gone so well for the two of us. The idea of taking all the children really was it was almost a kill or cure for our future.
So at the airport with 4 children, and just realised that Paul and I unintentionally are twinning.
You were twinning.
We're twinning. We arrived in Cartagena, and I had the task of provisioning with the assistance of 4 helpful children and keeping them entertained while Paul worked on getting Savvy ready to set sail that evening. There's the National Museum of Underwater Archaeology, which I'm not even going to try and pronounce in Spanish. And each of the 4 children has 4 letters in their name. So last time we were there with the girls, I'd planned to get each child to pose in the letters to spell out their name. And that kept everyone entertained for an hour, and we have some really good pictures. It'll be fun to go back there every time we're there and redo it.
Sailing along. Amazing day.
How are you feeling, Romy?
Seasick.
The next day, the children put on their wetsuits again and Paul tried to teach them to stand up paddleboard.
Sometimes I say that I want you back, but
And then the girls fell off the Joe.
sometimes
I think about the good days we
Don't worry, the girls were fine. I just put my phone down after that to run to the rescue. But I can't believe you knocked the girls off.
Well, they kind of looked like they were enjoying themselves, and there was a wave and I missed it. And then I turned around and there were two girls flying through the air.
But they were fine.
They were fine, yeah. It took them until now to get back on the joke.
No, they've still
still
not
not on
gone
the
back
joke.
on it, no.
But they had a good time.
Well, they did until then. The boys were fine though.
Sometimes I think about the good days we had, but there were bad days too. And I know
We went ashore for lunch at one of the couple of restaurants open in the quiet season. We packed up the boat ready to sail to Ibiza that evening, and when we tried to leave and lift the anchor, we realised that it was stuck under a very big rock and it just was not coming free. So we're still really having problems with this anchor. We haven't been able to leave all day. It's now 2:30 and the anchor is really firmly jammed under a rock. So Paul is still trying to come up with a way of releasing it.
So sometimes when you anchor and the wind changes direction overnight, we were in about 8-10 metres of water, just not far from the Mal Menor, and the anchor chain overnight, the winds went light, it swelled around 360 degrees and the chain wrapped itself around a great big bommy, as they're known, or big rock, and pulled itself tight and sawed itself in. And then the wind started blowing at 30 plus knots again, which makes it really difficult to raise the anchor. Tried for a couple of hours, couldn't do it, and then we spent a couple of days next door to the Mal Menor because we couldn't leave.
Join us in the next episode to see if we can leave the Mal Menor and continue up the coast, and how we have to quickly take the children back home to England as a storm is approaching.